On a humid morning in October 1939, President Manuel L. Quezon stood atop a limestone ridge in the Diliman estate, his white suit contrasting sharply against the wild, overgrown cogon grass. He was looking for a future that Manila could no longer provide. The old capital down by the bay was sinking, overcrowded, and terrifyingly vulnerable to naval guns from foreign powers. Quezon needed a fortress. He turned to his aides, his eyes scanning the rough terrain of the Tuasan hacienda. "We will build the dream here." This wasn't just land. It was a blank canvas for a nation finding its identity. He envisioned a metropolis that would rival Washington, D.C. and Paris, a place where the streets were wide and the air was clean. But he could not have foreseen the chaotic, vibrant sprawl that would eventually engulf his carefully laid plans. The wind whipped through the tall grass. This territory was not originally a city at all, but a patchwork of friar lands and agricultural estates known as the Diliman and Guadalupe haciendas. It was rocky, elevated, and far from the commercial hum of the cargo ships in harbor that defined the economy of colonial Manila. The decision to move the capital was a strategic retreat from the sea. Military advisors warned that Manila's location made it a sitting duck for bombardment, while this plateau offered natural defense and solid bedrock. On October 12, 1939, Commonwealth Act No. 502 was signed, breathing legal life into Quezon City, Philippines. The government purchased the massive Diliman estate for 5 centavos per square meter, a sum that seems laughable today but was a significant investment for a budding commonwealth. Architects bent over drafting tables. The planning team was a triad of visionary minds: Harry Frost, an American architect, Juan Arellano, a Filipino master builder, and Alpheus Williams, a civil engineer. They drafted a master plan anchored on a grand quadrangle with government buildings radiating outward in a display of geometric perfection. They sketched wide boulevards lined with tropical trees. It was the City Beautiful movement transplanted to the tropics. However, the ink on the blueprints had barely dried when history intervened with brutal force. World War II shattered the dream. The Japanese Imperial Army marched in and the construction sites were abandoned or repurposed as garrisons. The skeletal frames of unfinished buildings stood silently in the rain. When the smoke cleared in 1945, the landscape had changed effectively forever. The char of war covered the region. The Grand Government Center was a ghost town of concrete stumps and overgrown weeds, yet the resolve to build remained unbroken. In 1948, under President Elpidio Quirino, Quezon City was officially declared the capital of the Philippines, a title it would hold for nearly 3 decades. This era marked the beginning of a construction boom that was nothing short of aggressive. Concrete mixers worked 24/7 as 15 new skyscrapers rose simultaneously across the financial district. The city needed to house the bureaucracy of an entire nation. The Quezon Memorial Circle, the city's geometric heart, began to rise from the dust. The construction of the Quezon Memorial Shrine is a story of obsession with numbers and legacy. The monument consists of 3 vertical pylons, representing the 3 main island groups of the Philippines: Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The structure soars exactly 66 meters into the sky. This height was not chosen randomly. It corresponds to the age of Manuel L. Quezon when he died. Workers balanced on scaffolding towers, welding steel beams to form the angel-topped pillars that would watch over the coffin of the founding father. Below the monument, engineers excavated the earth to create a museum and mausoleum, a quiet sanctuary beneath the roar of the traffic that would soon circle it. The heavy machinery groaned. By the 1950s and 60s, Quezon City, Philippines, was transforming from a government center into a lifestyle hub. A wealthy industrialist named J. Amado Araneta envisioned a commercial district in the cogon fields of Cubao. He bought 35 hectares of radio transmission land and proposed something audacious: the world's largest indoor arena. Critics laughed at the idea of building a massive dome in the middle of nowhere. They called it a folly. But Araneta pressed on, and the construction of the Araneta Coliseum became a spectacle of engineering. It required the largest clear-span steel dome in the world at the time, measuring 108 meters in diameter. In 1960, the doors opened. The big dome changed everything. It wasn't just a sports venue, it was a gravitational pull that shifted the city's center of gravity. Suddenly, the quiet suburbs were filled with neon lights and commercial traffic. The area around it exploded with cinemas, department stores, and blinding electrical signage. While the government center in Diliman remained the political brain, Cubao became the beating heart. Simultaneously, the University of the Philippines transferred its massive campus to Diliman, bringing thousands of students and intellectuals to the area. The ablation statue was moved. This migration of the university necessitated a massive infrastructure push. Bulldozers carved through the thick vegetation to lay the foundations of Commonwealth Avenue, a highway designed to be the widest in the Philippines. It was a concrete river spanning up to 18 lanes in some sections, intended to prevent the congestion that plagued Manila. Ironically, it would later become known as the Killer Highway due to the sheer volume and speed of vehicles. As the asphalt cooled, residential subdivisions began to sprout like mushrooms after rain. Places like Falam Life Homes and Stowe, Domingo were marketed to the middle class who wanted to escape the decay of the old city. Families moved in droves. But beneath the manicured lawns and the rising concrete, a different kind of city was forming. Quezon City, Philippines is a place of stark contrasts and hidden layers. While the wealthy retreated behind high gates in subdivisions like Corinthian Gardens, the workforce building the city needed somewhere to live. Informal settlements began to fill the cracks between the planned zones. They occupied the easements of creeks and the shadows of transmission lines. Behind the gleaming facades of the malls, labyrinthine networks of shanties emerged, complete with their own informal economies and power grids. It was a parallel world. The city's geography also hides a geological secret. The West Valley Fault runs directly through the eastern portion of Quezon City, a ticking time bomb that urban planners have had to wrestle with for decades. Engineers and geologists have spent years mapping this fault line, ensuring that high-rise developments maintain a safe distance. You can see the markers on the ground if you know where to look. It dictates where the skyscrapers can rise and where the ground must remain open. The earth here is restless. In the 1970s, the Batasang Pambansa complex was constructed to house the parliament. It sits on a hill overlooking the Marikina Valley, a brutalist structure of concrete and glass that projects power. The architecture of this era was heavy, imposing, and designed to withstand time. Yet the grandest plan of all, the National Government Center, was never fully realized. If you look at the Quezon City urban planning map today, you can see the ghosts of roads that were never built and parks that were swallowed by squatters. The original geometric perfection dissolved into organic chaos. Reality overtook the dream. Water management remains one of the city's most critical hidden battles. Quezon City houses the La Mesa Watershed Reservation, the last remaining rainforest of its size in Metro Manila and the primary source of drinking water for millions. It is a green lung in a sea of gray. Protecting this reservoir involves a constant struggle against illegal logging and encroachment. Below the streets, a vast network of drainage tunnels tries to cope with the tropical monsoons. When the rains come, the city's elevation saves it from the worst of the coastal flooding, but the internal waterways can still swell with terrifying speed. The sewers are overwhelmed. Today, Quezon City, Philippines, is evolving into a futuristic metropolis that Quezon himself might struggle to recognize. The skyline is pierced by the glass towers of Vertis North and Eastwood City, self-contained townships that function as cities within a city. These are the new economic engines, driven by the business process outsourcing industry. At night, the windows of these towers glow with the blue light of thousands of computer screens as an army of young workers supports the economies of the West. The silence is gone. The infrastructure is catching up to the density. The construction of the Metro Manila subway is currently slicing through the subterranean rock of the city. Tunnel boring machines are eating through the earth beneath Commonwealth Avenue and the Katipunan area, preparing to link Quezon City to the airport and beyond. This is the project of the century, a multi-billion-dollar endeavor to finally give the city the mass transit backbone it has always lacked. We see the subway train arriving at station in the renderings, a promise of a decongested future. Heavy cranes dominate the horizon. Yet the city retains a unique atmosphere that separates it from its neighbors. It is greener, spread out, and strangely nostalgic. The Quezon Memorial Circle remains the anchor. In the early mornings, you can see elderly residents practicing Tai Chi in the shadow of the pylons, while a drone flying through clouds captures the golden hour light hitting the monument's tip. It is a place where the past and the hypermodern collide. The jeepneys, colorful relics of the post-war era, still roar alongside sleek electric buses. The air smells of exhaust and roasting corn. The transformation is far from over. The local government is pushing for smart city status, integrating AI traffic management and digital services. They are installing thousands of high-definition cameras and sensors to monitor everything from flood levels to crime. The Triangle Park Business District is set to rival Makati and Bonifacio Global City, aiming to pull even more corporate headquarters to the north. But with this growth comes the challenge of sustainability. The heat island effect is intensifying. As we look at the cinematic fog over rooftops at dawn, we realize that Quezon City is a survivor. It survived the war, it survived the loss of its capital status in 1976 when the title was returned to Manila, and it survived the explosive population growth that pushed it to nearly 3 million residents. It is the largest city in the country in terms of both population and land area. It is a giant that never sleeps. The lights stretch endlessly. Quezon City, Philippines, stands as a testament to the complexity of urban ambition. It started as a refuge from the sea, a planned utopia on a hill. It became a chaotic, thriving, messy, and magnificent reality. It is a city of circles and triangles, of concrete and cogon, of carefully drawn blueprints and unplanned settlements. It proves that a city is not just what architects design, but what the people build every single day. The dream is still alive.